Hello guys. Today we're going to be talking about failures as stepping stones to better execution. Now, in this video, I'm going to be sharing some of the failures I've had and how those failures have helped me become a better project manager. If you're joining my channel for the first time, I am Ioron-Aloho and I am a project manager. In this channel, I talk about project management and lifestyle basically. Today, I'm going to be sharing about some of the failures that I've had while implementing and designing projects and how some of those failures have become stepping stones for me to better implement projects so far. I'm going to share a personal experience I've had recently and how that can impact us or maybe put fear on you doing a particular thing. Earlier this year, I decided to take the Prince 2 certification. I had the PMP and it was kind of like an easy road. I wrote the PMP one hand and I passed, so there was no fear in that. When I was looking towards doing the Prince 2 certification, at first there was also no fear because it was like, it's a project management certification exam, so no fears. And then I sat for the examinations, and when I was trying to prepare for the exams, that was when I noticed the huge difference between PMP and Prince 2. And then I kind of like studied and all of that, but there wasn't really enough time because at that point we're really deep into some project executions and all of that. Anyways, I wrote the exams and I failed. When I failed that examination, I had to do like a receipt because I had earlier on paid for a receipt in case I failed. That's not something I did with the PMP as well. But with the Prince 2, I read a lot about how difficult it could get, and then if you failed, you needed to pay the entire £500+ again to sit for the exams. Instead of that, I paid like a minimum amount of £100+ to sit for the examinations in case I failed. Well, so when I failed the exam, I had to reschedule within 3 months. And within this period, I felt a certain way about it. I kind of like put off rescheduling this exam for the really longest time. And I kept asking myself, why was I procrastinating rescheduling this exam? And I discovered that it was fear. Because I wrote the exams and failed, I kind of like had that fear of actually resitting for the exams. Will I pass now? Am I now prepared to take the exams? Notice that this didn't happen with the PMP. I didn't like take some lessons from the PMP as well because I felt like, oh, it was easy walk in the park. I wrote it, I passed, and that was that. With the Prince 2 now, I'm trying to do better, but also my fear is kind of like holding me back because what if I fail? Having to repay the entire sum and all of that has been like a blockage to getting me that success that I need. And this is something that happens in every phase of our lives, right? You have fear about some particular thing because maybe you failed before or you have somebody who has failed in that particular thing before. Fear can be a stumbling block, but it can also be a stepping stone to your growth. What have I done differently now in preparing for the Prince 2? I'm preparing ahead, I'm reading more, I'm reading better stories around Prince 2. I was able to get the materials now to prepare for it. I'm not seeing it as unserious as when I was preparing for the PMP because I passed that. There's been a lot of lessons and growing up for me to do since my failure and towards the time now preparing for it. Why did I share this story? It's the same thing with when you're implementing projects. You've designed your first project and your first project was a massive failure. It might be difficult for you to implement the second one or even try to design or work in a team because you feel like a total failure. You feel like you might not be able to do the right thing anymore. And that basically stops you from actually putting in the creativity that you need towards designing and implementing better projects. Why shouldn't this be a fear for you? Why shouldn't this be a stumbling block for you? Why should failure actually be a stepping stone? Because there are a lot of lessons that you're going to be learning from this. In the previous video, I shared about one of the biggest project failures that I had, which was the Ivy project. And in a way, the Ivy project was both a success and a failure. But the first pilot of that project was a failure. Why was it that? Because we had communications barrier with our stakeholders. And when we discovered what the issue was, what did we do next? We went back to the drawing board and we saw that, oh, this is the issue why this project actually failed. What can we do better? We're able to now discuss and bring out those creative juices basically that we're able to make that project a better one. And that has been a winning strategy for us since the implementation of that project to over 50 plus projects that I've implemented since 2018. Why was that a winning start for me? When we went into the communities, we discovered what the issue was, language barriers and all of that. We now said, how are we going to creatively talk about these issues, and then our stakeholders are able to engage, we talk and take ownership of this project. We decided using local language, illustrations, using art. And I think in 2018, when this project happened, that was when I actually started implementing and infusing art-based tools into projects that I run. And we've had successes since that point to now. Without the failure that was the first pilot of the Ivy project, that wouldn't have been possible. There would have been no lesson to learn about how better we could improve that project, because everything maybe would have gone smoothly. But because the failure happened, it gave us the opportunity to do better. Failure can also be an opportunity for growth, just as you've seen in my growth, and I've shared extensively about academics and so on. So you're able to use these failures that you've had. I've done businesses that failed. I've designed projects that failed. And at each turn, we're seeing something in all of those failures that could actually help us to do better, to design better projects. One of the key things you need to have as a project manager is to know how to be flexible, is to know how to maneuver through different things. I always said, and in recent times, mostly in the recent project that I'm currently working on, I said a project manager is a fixer. There's going to be a lot of stumbling blocks. There are going to be failures. But how do you navigate through all of these failures? What will you do to design a better project? There is no project that you're going to design that is going to be, it will be a success, but there will be issues. This is why you do your risk assessment. There will always be things that will come up, but how you navigate those issues that come up will basically be what will make you a better project manager from the next person. And one thing for me is that I can anticipate failures before they happen. People would see that as negative, but it actually is a positive. When you're assessing your risks, basically, it's like, this could go wrong, this could go wrong. But I also always put in mind that this project can fail. What are the things that could make this project fail? What are the strategies I would bring in to ensure that this project doesn't become a failure? And I put that, I implement it, and I go on and I do that. And sometimes, by the time we're reviewing the project, we discover that, oh, there were actually things that we could have done better. That was not a complete failure, right? But it was a lesson that we still learned. And that particular lesson, you take it to your next project, and it's something you're able to replicate. And failure for me has made me more observant of other spaces that I belong in. So I go for conferences, I belong to different organization board, I support and volunteer with different organizations as well, and then where I work. So when I learn something in a particular space, I'm able to replicate that lesson and teach it in a different space. I'm able to do like a step down for other people, whether with my non-profit back home in Nigeria, or with where I work here in the UK, or with the non-profit organizations that I volunteer with. What that helps me do is to help me retain knowledge. When I go for something and I learn something in that space, I'm not keeping it within. I'm learning and I'm using that knowledge that I've learned there. Even if I did a mistake in that program, in that section, in that workshop, whatever lesson it is I got there from the people I collaborated with, I'm able to sit down, reflect on all of these things, and improve the projects that I'm currently running. Next time, if I'm even trying to design a project, I'm trying to write a proposal, I'm able to bring all of those lessons into it. Now, I think recently I shared a project again where we got up to £100,000 funding, and that particular project was based on a lessons learned document. I didn't have to design that project from scratch. It was a previous project that I had done, and I wanted a scale up of it. The basis of which I got that scale up grant was based on the lessons that I got from a previous project that we did. You see how your failures become a stepping stone for you. You learn, and then you're telling someone, oh, we did this wrong, and this is what we're doing now. We did this way, and it didn't work out, and because of that, we used a different strategy. When somebody hears you talk about stuff like this, they know that, oh, this person knows what they're doing. This person understands their project. This person knows that it's problems could come up, it's inevitable, and these are the ways that they can navigate that. You're a fixer. This is how you're able to handle these issues moving forward. And when somebody sees that in you, then you're able to even win better grants. You're able to get collaborations for other projects, because more people basically want to work with you, because they know that if something goes wrong, you're open-minded to be able to accept the mistake, not shy away from it, but implement it into the next project that you're working on. I hope that from now onwards, we no longer see failure as something that is so negative that we do not want to experience, but we instead see failures as an opportunity to grow. A popular saying from a book I read is, fail fast, learn fast. The faster you fail, the better you learn. I hope that we're able to take that lesson into the projects that we're now designing. Don't let fear cripple you. Keep on moving on, growing from all of your failures. Write them down if possible. See all of the mistakes that were in there and just see how better you can work on making sure that your next project become a better one. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing more about project management again and how we can all become better project managers. Until next time, I am your favorite project manager, Ioron-Aloho. See you.